everybody. Look at this picture. What do you think it means to me? It means that I have loved space ever since I can remember. I love reading about space, and every year I dress up as an astronaut for Halloween. Every time I walk into my room, I feel like I am in a space domain, a different world where everything in it is space. This past July, I went to space camp at the Kennedy Space Center for 5 days. I felt like I was training to be an astronaut. While I was there, they had a multi-axis trainer like this. I actually trained in one of these. I sat in a chair and spun on a vertical axis while I simultaneously flipped around the horizontal axis like Uranus rotates on its axis. But wait, everybody, this is not all about me. This is about the value of space exploration. Look at this picture. These are all everyday things, right? Yes. But these things wouldn't be how we know them today if NASA hadn't developed them for space exploration. NASA needed a strong, sturdy material to protect the astronauts and their helmets on the moon missions. The visors needed to be scratch-resistant so when the astronauts wiped the moon dust off, the dust wouldn't scratch or potentially crack the visors. Scratch-resistant sunglasses are now in use because of the visors. Shoes like Nike Air were invented because former NASA engineer Frank Rudy had the idea to use the same blow-mold technology to create the hollow mold in the sole of the shoe that NASA used to manufacture astronaut helmets and boots. The mold for these shoes is designed to put a shock-absorbent material into the heel and the forefoot. This material takes the impact from the shoe hits the ground so that the foot doesn't get damaged. Also, NASA needed a camera that could store scientific information to be put on the outside of the spacecraft. This got developed and became the camera phone we know today. Lastly, raise your hand if you have used diapers for your children. Classmates, I didn't forget about you. Raise your hand if you have a little brother or sister that has used or is using diapers. NASA uses diapers too. They needed a human waste system that was portable, lightweight, and sustainable for the Mercury missions. Now, diapers that people use for their babies are absorbent and leak-proof because NASA figured out a chemical reaction that turns human waste into a gel. Also, NASA needed solutions to problems they had with collecting moon dust samples. For that, they turned to Black & Decker. Black & Decker created a vacuum that sucked up dust samples for NASA. This got developed and became the Dust Buster. To keep astronauts from getting too cold or too hot, NASA needed insulation in the walls of their spacecraft. NASA wanted the insulation to be lightweight instead of heavy, because if it was too heavy, the spacecraft would not build up enough speed to get through the atmosphere. This too got developed and became house insulation in the outer walls of everybody's houses. The dustbuster and house insulation are just two examples of inventions developed because of the challenges of space exploration. These inventions and innovations require a lot of hard work. Hard work provides jobs. There were 400,000 jobs for the Apollo 11 moon mission. These jobs include seamstresses that sewed the spacesuits together, engineers that tested the engines and made sure they worked properly before the mission, inspectors that checked all the systems before and during the countdown, and many more jobs. The Space Shuttle program and the International Space Station are very important because they both help people here on Earth. The Shuttle program's main purpose was to build the ISS in space. The International Space Station is still up in space and still helping people around the world. The International Space Station is up in space for research and exploration. For example, pictures are taken from the International Space Station to educate people on natural disasters so they can make preparations to prevent damage caused by these natural disasters. Also, because scientists study and measure solar activity in space on the ISS, they can predict climate change, improve navigation data, and forecast the orbits of satellites and debris. Another example of how the International Space Station helps the world is the technology from the robotic arms used on the ISS. It's used by robots here on Earth to perform surgeries more quickly and safely than a person could. This robot is called Mirror Arm. Some surgeries this robot performs would have been considered inoperable before. In the future, I think space exploration will provide even more inventions and even more innovations. I can imagine, if we find fertile soil on Mars or something very important like that, delivery capsules will travel from Mars to Earth and from Earth to Mars. I believe if people see us, humans, going back to the moon and to Mars, it will find more of a taste for exploration, and the world will collaborate more as a whole. Now, let's go back to the opposite of the future, the past. In 1961, our President John F. Kennedy said, "I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out, landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth." In 1962, Kennedy said, "There is no strife, no prejudice, no national conflict in outer space as yet. Says it are hostile to us all. Its conquest deserves the best of all mankind, and its opportunity for peaceful cooperation may never come again." But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And then we will ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why deserts like Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept. One we're unwilling to postpone, and one which we intend to win, and the others too. In 1969, President Kennedy's goal was achieved. People's goals were achieved. Hard work paid off. Mankind stepped onto a foreign world. Now, goals have been set to get back to the moon by 2024. I think that if we're getting back to the moon by 2024, we should have our moon space station Gateway in orbit by 2040 and be using it as a pit stop on the way to Mars. I want to be a part of these missions. I want to explore, conduct experiments, learn about the universe, and I want to invent tools and instruments that will be helpful. Let's take our next giant